We're going to continue doing exercise with him. We just have to wait till he feels his confidence is back and he's willing to try.
In a world where weight is often the subject of scrutiny, there exist individuals whose size defies comprehension, pushing the limits of what the human body can endure. Their stories are filled with pain, perseverance, and unexpected twists that will leave you both awed and inspired. Join us as we delve into the extraordinary lives of the most overweight people in the world and uncover the secrets hidden beneath their enormous struggles. John Brower Minik. John Brower Minik seemed like any other child when he was born. He seemed destined for an extraordinary life from the start, but by age 10, he weighed close to 300 pounds, signaling the beginning of a lifelong battle with extreme obesity. His weight surged as he grew older, due to a combination of metabolic and genetic factors, with a particularly debilitating condition called massive generalized edema, causing his body to retain large amounts of fluid. Through consistent measurements and visitations by a doctor, John's weight progressed from 392 pounds in 1963 to about 975 pounds in 1966. This relentless weight gain ultimately left John bedridden, with serious health issues like heart, respiratory, and circulatory issues, until his weight eventually reached a staggering 1,400 pounds by the age of 36. In March 1970, John was recognized by the Guinness World Record as the heaviest man who ever lived. Everyday activities became impossible, and even medical professionals were challenged by his condition, which was so severe that it took a team of 13 people just to roll him over in bed. Despite efforts to manage his weight through a strict 1,200-calorie diet, which led to a dramatic loss of 420 pounds in just 1 year and 4 months, John's battle with his weight was far from over. In 1978, John and his wife Jeanette, who weighed 110 pounds, broke another record for the greatest weight differential recorded for a married couple. The difference between their weights was an astounding 1,289 pounds. John's story took a tragic turn when, despite the initial success of his diet, his health continued to decline. His weight fluctuated and his wife divorced him, leading to another marriage with Shirley Ann Griffin in 1982. He remained bedridden until his death in 1983 at the age of 41, weighing 798 pounds at the time. Khaled bin Mosen Shari. Once dubbed the world's heaviest man, Khaled bin Mosen Shari faced a reality that few could imagine, but many could fear. Born in Saudi Arabia, Khaled's life became a cautionary tale of the consequences of unchecked weight gain, fueled by a combination of genetic predisposition and an unhealthy lifestyle. By 2013, at just 22 years old, his weight had ballooned to an unimaginable 1,345 pounds, earning him a place in the Guinness World Records. The gravity of his situation went beyond numbers. Khaled was bedridden, dependent on his family for even the most basic needs, and his health was in a downward spiral. However, his story was far from over. When King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia personally intervened, it marked the beginning of a transformation that would capture the world's attention. The Saudi monarch arranged for Khaled to be airlifted from his home in Riyadh to a medical facility, where a multidisciplinary team of doctors began the arduous task of saving his life. Under the care of specialists, Khaled underwent a series of surgeries, including a gastric bypass and a strict regimen that led to a dramatic weight loss of over 700 pounds within just a few years. He was assigned a special wheelchair to aid in his movements and increase activity levels. But Khaled's journey was not just about shedding weight. It was a battle to reclaim his life, autonomy, and dignity. The transformation was as much mental as it was physical, and gradually Khaled transitioned from being entirely dependent on others to regaining his ability to move and care for himself, even if only partially. His story became a beacon of hope for many struggling with extreme obesity, highlighting that even the most dire situations could be turned around with the right support and determination. While Khaled's later years have remained largely out of the public eye, his journey to a fully healthy status is still in progress, with him undergoing his last surgery in 2018 for the removal of excess skin. Kenneth Brumley. The devastating change in Kenneth Brumley's life from healthy to obese is shocking and heartbreaking. Born in 1968, Kenneth kept healthy and fit as a child, involving himself in sports activities like basketball and American football. But all that changed after he moved to California at the age of 19. When this happened, Kenneth let go of all healthy habits, settled into a deteriorating habit of excessive calorie intake, and eventually became a symbol of extreme obesity and the struggles it brings. Eventually, his weight reached an astonishing 1,035 pounds, confining him to his bed for years. His life took a dramatic turn when he was featured in the documentary Half-Ton Dad, where his story of struggle and survival captured the attention of millions. Kenneth's massive size made even the simplest tasks impossible, and he required constant care from his family. The documentary revealed the devastating effects of his obesity, showing how it not only trapped him physically, but also strained his relationships and mental well-being. In a bid to save his life, Kenneth underwent a series of medical interventions, starting with a strict, hospital-supervised diet. Over time, he managed to lose a significant amount of weight, shedding over 400 pounds. His weight loss and treatment were handled by the same team that oversaw the treatment and weight loss of Renee Williams, another former obese patient and the world's heaviest record holder at the time. Manuel Arriba. This is the story of a man whose life became a poignant symbol of the human struggle against obesity. Manuel Arriba, who was once celebrated as the world's heaviest man, was born on June 11, 1965, in Monterrey, Mexico. Uribe lived an ordinary life until his weight began to spiral out of control in his 20s. When asked about the possible reasons for his increased weight gain, he admitted to eating regular food just like everyone else. However, his job as a technician in Texas and his sedentary lifestyle made exercise difficult. According to Uribe, his job of fixing typewriters meant he spent hours sitting at his desk, and the triangular walk between his house, car, and desk was the only form of exercise he got. By 2006, he reached his peak weight of around 1,230 pounds, rendering him bedridden and reliant on others for even the most basic tasks. This extraordinary condition catapulted him into the global spotlight, drawing attention not just for the sheer scale of his obesity, but for the perseverance and spirit he exhibited despite overwhelming odds. Uribe's wife divorced him due to his weight, and he returned to Mexico, depressed and morbidly obese. He appealed for help on national television, and the government intervened by appointing nutritionists and doctors to help him. Although he was overweight, Uribe refused to get gastric bypass surgery, his actions catching the attention of a dietitian and owner of Zone Diet, Barry Sears. Through the help of Barry, Uribe was placed on a high-protein and low-carb diet, which eventually set him on the path to recovery. After losing 593 pounds and weighing 701 pounds in 2008, Uribe married Claudia, his second wife, from his bed on October 26, 2008. As Uribe battled his weight, he captured the world's attention not only through his appearances on television and documentaries, but also through his earnest attempts to reclaim his life. He remained confined to his bed until his passing in 2014 at the age of 48. Walter Hudson. This man held a Guinness World Record not just for being overweight, but as the man with the largest waist circumference. Walter Hudson, born in Brooklyn, New York, on June 5, 1944, is remembered as one of the heaviest individuals ever documented. He weighed 1,197 pounds at his peak, with a waist circumference of 119 inches, making him a living embodiment of extreme obesity. He had a peculiar relationship with food, one that made him weigh 125 pounds at 6 years old, eventually leading to him being homebound by the time he was 15 at 350 pounds. He once consumed entire pies and dozens of eggs in a single sitting, his daily caloric intake often reaching staggering levels. But behind these numbers lies a story that is as tragic as it is fascinating. Hudson's life was confined to his home, where he spent most of his time in bed, unable to move due to his massive size. The stark contrast between his early life, where he was said to have had a normal childhood, and his later years, where he became a prisoner of his own body, paints a picture of the devastating effects of extreme obesity. In 1987, Hudson gained national attention when he became wedged in his bedroom door, necessitating the assistance of nearly a dozen firefighters to extricate him after 4 hours. This incident prompted him to seek help for his state of health and also brought Hudson's plight to the forefront of public consciousness. Despite the media attention, there was little that could be done to reverse his condition. However, none of that stopped Hudson as he began dieting under the supervision of comedian-turned-health activist Dick Gregory. After 1 year, Hudson recorded a weight loss of almost 680 pounds, but that was not the only win for him. For the first time in 18 years, Hudson left his house on his own. Sadly, a bronchial infection would cause Hudson to relapse and gain an additional 200 pounds in 1989. Before he died in 1991 at the age of 47, Hudson regained most of the weight he lost under Gregory's supervision, weighing 1,025 pounds at the time of his death. To remove his body from the premises, a 4 by 6 foot hole had to be made in his bedroom wall by emergency rescuers. Rosalie Bradford. The fluctuations of Rosalie Bradford's weight had less to do with being a woman and more to do with her mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Born on August 27, 1943 in Pennsylvania, Rosalie's struggle with weight began in childhood. In 7th grade, she was already weighing 202 pounds, and the next year she weighed 309 pounds. By the time she was in her 20s, she dropped to 250 pounds, a significant figure, but her weight skyrocketed to 374 pounds after the birth of her son 1 year later. Her story only intensified as she continued to gain weight, eventually reaching a record-breaking 1,199 pounds, earning her a place in the Guinness World Records as the heaviest woman ever recorded. However, it wasn't just the sheer weight that made her story captivating, it was the profound journey that followed. Confined to her bed for years, Rosalie was immobilized both physically and mentally, trapped in a cycle of despair that seemed impossible to break. Yet in the face of such adversity, she found a glimmer of hope that would lead to an astonishing transformation. With the help of Richard Simmons, the famous fitness guru known for his contagious enthusiasm, Rosalie began a monumental weight loss journey. Simmons, recognizing her plight, reached out to her with a letter of encouragement, some exercise tapes, and a diet plan with instructions to move parts of her body except for her mouth, sparking a motivation in Rosalie that had long been dormant. Slowly but surely, she began to lose weight, starting by clapping her hands to the videos and shedding over 900 pounds over several years, a feat that remains one of the most significant weight losses ever documented. The dramatic change wasn't just about the numbers on the scale, it symbolized a renewal of life, allowing Rosalie to reclaim a sense of purpose and independence she had long lost. After her weight loss, Rosalie had to undergo surgeries to remove excess skin, with one of the surgeries damaging the lymphatic system in her legs. On November 29, 2006, Rosalie died at a hospital in Lakeland at the age of 63. Mara Rosales. Once known as the half-ton killer, Mara captured global attention in 2008 when she was accused of murdering her 2-year-old nephew by rolling over him. At that time, Mara weighed over 1,000 pounds and was bedridden, making the accusation seem implausible to many. Her life, filled with challenges, took a dramatic turn when it was revealed that she had falsely confessed to protect her sister, Jaime Lee Rosales, who was the actual perpetrator. The trial revealed that the injuries sustained by the child were a result of blunt force trauma, a situation caused by beating, and that would have been impossible for Mara given the state of her weight and limited mobility. Eventually, it was discovered that the mother, Jaime, had beaten the boy with a hairbrush because he refused to eat. Jaime was tracked and arrested after attempting to flee when Mara confessed to making up the story in a bid to protect her sister and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. This revelation was only the beginning of Mara's remarkable journey. Her story shifted from one of crime and despair to one of redemption and transformation. After being acquitted, Mara realized that she needed to reclaim her life, both physically and emotionally, not just for herself, but for her sister's children who had no one to care for them. Over the years, Mara underwent multiple surgeries, including gastric bypass, and embraced a healthier lifestyle with a determination that few could imagine. Her transformation was nothing short of astonishing. She shed over 800 pounds, completely altering her life and appearance. Before her death on February 16, 2024, Mara was married to Carlos de la Rosa and lived a quiet life in Texas. Robert Earl Hughes. The man with the largest chest measurement, Robert Earl Hughes, lived a life that was as extraordinary as it was tragic. Robert, once known as the heaviest man in the world, was born on June 4, 1926, in the small town of Fishhook, Illinois. Hughes was destined to become a figure of both fascination and sympathy, as from a young age he suffered from a glandular disorder that caused his weight to skyrocket. By the time he was 6, Hughes already weighed over 200 pounds, a harbinger of the challenges that lay ahead. His weight continued to increase rapidly, and by his late teens, he was already well over 600 pounds. However, it was not until the early 1950s that his name became widely known. At his peak, Hughes weighed an astonishing 1,071 pounds, with a chest measurement of 124 inches, earning him a place in the Guinness World Records as the heaviest man on record at the time. Yet despite the attention his size garnered, Hughes was not simply a spectacle. He was a kind-hearted man who faced his situation with remarkable grace and humor. Living in a body that grew beyond his control, Hughes faced a world that was not built for someone of his size. His life was a series of logistical challenges, from finding clothing that fit to requiring specially made beds and transportation. Yet he did not let these obstacles define him. Hughes made a living by appearing at carnivals and fairs, where people paid to see the world's heaviest man. While some might view this as exploitation, Hughes saw it as an opportunity to support himself and his family, even if it meant enduring the stares and whispers of strangers. Tragically, Hughes's life was cut short when he died on July 10, 1958, at the age of 32. He had developed a rash while traveling with a roadshow to Indiana. The skin under his nails started to turn blue, but because of his size, Robert could not be moved and had to be treated in his trailer. He was diagnosed with measles and also developed uremia. After his death, he was buried in a small church cemetery in Illinois, near his hometown Fishhook. Carol Joerger. Imagine being so morbidly obese that you are unable to walk for months. This was the life of Carol Joerger, a Guinness World Record holder for the world's heaviest woman. Joerger was in and out of hospitals due to health issues associated with her obesity and from muscle atrophy, a situation that makes the muscles weak and unable to support a person's weight due to misuse. Joerger was born in Flint, Michigan in 1960, and her struggle with weight began at an early age, exacerbated by a combination of genetic predispositions and a traumatic childhood. By the time she was a teenager, Joerger was already severely obese, and her weight continued to climb uncontrollably. As an adult, she became one of the heaviest women ever recorded, with her peak weight estimated to be around 1,200 pounds. Joerger was bedridden for much of her life, her body unable to support the enormity of her weight, and she required around-the-clock care. Joerger's life, however, was not solely defined by her weight. She was a woman of intelligence and wit, someone who, despite her physical limitations, made a lasting impact on those who knew her. Her life was a struggle not just against her own body, but also against the societal perceptions that came with her size. Joerger was acutely aware of how others viewed her, and she often used humor to deflect the pain of judgment. But beneath her laughter was a woman who yearned for a life she could never fully experience, a life of mobility, freedom, and normalcy. Tragically, her health deteriorated rapidly, and she passed away on July 18, 1994, at the age of 34. Her death, attributed to kidney failure and other complications related to her extreme obesity, marked the end of a life that had been both extraordinary and profoundly difficult. Subscribers pick. When the numbers on the weight scale become more than just digits, a new reality emerges. For some, weight becomes a defining force, shaping their entire existence. These extraordinary individuals confront a world often ill-equipped to accommodate them. With their lives hanging in a delicate balance of struggle and survival, the question lingers: what drives individuals to the extreme fringes of human size? Cases like Kenneth Brumley's highlight the extreme ends of this spectrum, sparking both concern and curiosity about the human body's limits, and exposing the truth that the most overweight people in the world endure unimaginable challenges. From health battles to social stigma, their lives are a constant struggle. Their stories are a stark reminder of the complexities of human health and the boundaries of human understanding. Michael H Branco. This yo-yo dieter from the Staten Islands battled with his weight his entire life. Michael H Branco, born on May 14, 1953, began his battle with weight early, but it wasn't until adulthood that his condition spiraled out of control. By the late 1980s, his weight had ballooned to an astounding 1,100 pounds, making him one of the heaviest men ever recorded. Confined to his bed, his body became a prison, with every movement a Herculean effort. Yet H Branco's story is not just one of despair, it is also a tale of hope and resilience. Through sheer determination and with the help of renowned fitness guru Richard Simmons,
you have to promise me that you are not going to leave this place until you've got it better together.
H Branco achieved what many thought was impossible. He lost over 900 pounds through surgery, a feat that earned him widespread media attention and a place in the Guinness World Records for the greatest weight loss in a single year. His story captivated the public, not just because of the numbers on the scale, but because of the human spirit that drove him to reclaim his life from the brink of death. However, H Branco's journey was far from a simple narrative of success. His victory over obesity was hard-won, and maintaining it proved to be an even greater challenge. Despite his extraordinary weight loss, H Branco's battle with food addiction was ongoing, and he faced multiple relapses over the years, with his weight once again climbing to life-threatening levels. These relapses underscored the harsh reality that extreme obesity is not just a physical condition, but a deeply psychological one, fraught with emotional complexities that are difficult to overcome. H Branco became an advocate for obesity awareness, speaking publicly about his struggles and the importance of addressing obesity with compassion and understanding rather than judgment. His life was a continuous fight against the odds, a testament to the persistence of hope even in the darkest of circumstances. Michael H Branco passed away on July 25, 2013, at the age of 60, after fighting to stay alive for years despite his weight problems. Patrick Duell. While Patrick Duell's size ultimately defines the public's perception of him, his story is one of resilience and determination. Born on March 28, 1962, in Grand Island, Nebraska, Duell faced weight issues as a child, but it wasn't until adulthood that his obesity became a cause for concern, leading him to become one of the heaviest people in the world. At his heaviest, Duell weighed 1,071 pounds, an almost unfathomable figure. Confined to his bed for nearly 7 years, his life became a daily battle for survival, with even the simplest tasks requiring tremendous effort. Despite his circumstances, Duell maintained a sense of hope and humor, which would become handy in his fight to reclaim his life. His journey to lose weight, chronicled in the media, particularly through a documentary on TLC, brought attention to his plight and highlighted the physical and emotional challenges of extreme obesity. Duell's peculiar case was that he was malnourished even though he was overweight. This was because his diet was mainly junk, and it deprived his body of the necessary nutrients and vitamins it required. In 2004, the struggle reached a critical point when he was rushed to a hospital, teetering on the edge of life and death.
I'll love her for life 'cause she is my new wife.
His health had deteriorated to such an extent that doctors had to remove a wall of his home to transport him to the hospital. This dramatic rescue marked the beginning of a long and arduous journey toward recovery. Under the care of Dr. Yunan Nozaradin, Duell underwent gastric bypass surgery, a risky procedure that would help him shed hundreds of pounds. The surgery was successful, and Duell's weight dropped significantly, giving him a second chance at life. However, the road to recovery was far from easy. It required immense dedication and the support of his wife, Edie, who stood by him through it all.
And so the 1 week that he didn't lose very much, but I said to him, but you've already lost this much.
While his battle was ongoing, Duell's courage and determination to change his life left a lasting impression even after he passed away on April the 29th, 2016. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.